it gets hard to tell. Judges chapter 17. All right, now Judges chapter 17, we've got a man named Micah, and Micah's mom loses a bunch of money, and Micah finds it. He says, oh, by the way, I had it. And she's thrilled. And in verse, let's pick up verse 3. And when he had restored the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother, this is Judges 17:3, his mother said, I had wholly dedicated the silver unto the Lord, that's Jehovah, from my hand for my son, to make a graven image and a molten image. Now therefore I will restore it unto thee. So you can see now already how this religion is coming in, and it's blending and melding in, and we'll see that throughout. And yet he restored the money unto his mother, and his mother took 200 shekels of silver, which she just said she wholly dedicated the 1,100. When it came time to pay up, I guess she figured 2 was good. 200 shekels of silver, and gave them to the founder, who made thereof a graven image and a molten image, and they were in the house of Micah. And the man Micah had an house of gods, and made an ephod and a teraphim, and consecrated one of his sons, who became his priest. So now what we've got here is we have Micah is setting up a place of worship, of Baal worship, and the first thing he needs is he needs some gods. He needs some silver, and he's got to make himself some stead. If you're going to start a religion, the first thing you need is some gods, right? So, and he begins to, he gives this money to the founder, and he tells him, make me a bunch of idols. So he makes a bunch of idols, and he puts them in this place. It says he had a house of gods. So he's got this building, this place of worship, and the first thing he does is he fills it with these idols. And the next thing he does is he gets him a priest. He consecrated one of his sons, who became his priest. So the house of gods needs, after it gets its gods, it needs a priest. It needs someone to mediate, someone to perform the services. Now, Micah's son is kind of on hand there, and he's handy, so he gets consecrated to be a priest. But as the account goes on, there's a Levite who's wandering through, and Micah says, ooh. And verse 10, Micah said unto him, dwell with me, and be unto me a father and a priest. And I will give thee 10 shekels of silver by the year, and a suit of apparel and thy victuals. So the Levite went in. And the Levite was content to dwell with the man. The young man was unto him as one of his sons. And Micah consecrated the Levite, and the young man became his priest, and was in the house of Micah. Then said Micah, now know I that the Lord, Jehovah, will do me good, seeing I have a Levite to my priest. So Micah, he's getting up there now. He's building up this thing. He's got some people, there's some reputable people now that are going to come and join him. And you notice again in verse 10, dwell with me and be unto me a father and a priest. Come with me. You know this verse, Matthew chapter 23. So this religion has, and by the way, this house of gods, you know, that works when you're in a kind of polytheistic culture that has these many gods. You can your place of worship would be called a house of gods. But as you kind of morph and accommodate yourself to a more monotheistic system that only worships one God, your house of gods becomes the house of God. So you have this, this place to go and to worship, where you have these images and this priest who we call Father. Matthew chapter 23, verse 8. But be not ye, this is Jesus speaking to his disciples, be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. Now you see that verse 9, call no man your father upon the earth. Now what is the Lord talking about there? Is he saying that I shouldn't call my dad my father? No, the context there is religious titles. Don't call anyone rabbi, which you hear people going around doing all the time. Don't go calling people father in a religious context, which you hear all the time. Master, you don't hear too much. You know where you hear that? You hear that a lot kind of in the cults and different places. So the Lord is telling these folks, his disciples, don't be like the heathen. Earlier on, back in chapter 6, he says, don't be like the heathen praying in vain repetition and so forth. So the Lord is still trying to pull these people out of this system. Now, come back, turn back just a book to Malachi, chapter 1. The Lord said, don't call anyone rabbi, because one is your master. Don't call him father, because God is your father. And don't call him master, because I'm your Lord, your master. And that's what these titles do, what they do. And that's what this religion does, is it sets up men in the place of God. And it gives them these titles to go along with that, to kind of fit the bill. And they make themselves larger than life. The Lord said, in that same passage there, the Pharisees like to enlarge the borders of their garments, and they wear their phylacteries. They had bells and whistles and so forth. All these this kind of wonderful garb that just makes them bigger than life, larger than life. After all, if you're going to keep the people in line, you have to kind of awe and intimidate and that kind of thing. Malachi in chapter 1, just one verse, verse 6, the Lord said, a son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. Those are two titles we just read. If then I be a father, where is my honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear, saith the Lord of hosts unto you? O priests that despise my name. And you say, wherein have we despised thy name? I don't know what you're talking about, Lord. And by the way, you call me Father. Look, now, lest I let some other groups off the hook, look in to come over and over and over again and bring their sins, their thefts and murders and all of those things, and it delivers them so that they can go out and do it again.